This is going to be about the future of Long Island as the climate changes. This video is going to be about that. We're going to talk about how sea level rise is going to impact a lot of areas that seem to be very desirable right now, and how ridiculous it is. The preferential treatment and the neglect of areas in the middle of the island, because these people here on the South Shore, you know, they're all lily white. They work in the banks and the Wall Street, and you know, and they get the nice stations and stuff, and all the investments going to their towns with businesses. You know, while our areas are suffering in the middle of the island with homelessness and problems and lack of business. So before I get started to show you the effects of climate change on Long Island, I want to show you some of the stuff I've been seeing in Hicksville lately, because this is an area that really should be thriving, but it's being ignored. You can see some possible activity there. It looks like gang activity in the Hicksville parking lot.
Okay. You know this train doesn't go to Woodside. No, Green's here.
I know I'm laughing because that don't make no sense. I don't want to be on this train.
Well, then you're going to have to get off the car place and wait for the next one. Or you can get off the train and wait. It's the other way. You either get off to the next stop and wait for the
end destination is in town.
Okay, well what I'm saying is, if you want to go to Woodside, you have to get off at either Jamaica or the next stop, because this train's not going to Woodside.
Well, you know why I'm getting off at Woodside is because I'm trying not to
okay.
make the cost
what
high.
I'm saying to you right now is, well, it doesn't make a difference. Woodside's the same price as the next station.
Oh, but then tell me to just stay on the train. I wouldn't listen to your definition.
Well, that's up to you. I mean,
I only said Woodside because I thought that created a difference.
no.
You ever been in hardship in your life?
You going to Penn Station?
Yeah. I could use that as a path if you wanted to do that as a professional. Part of lesson in the situation.
Okay, I understand, but I have to do my job. I think this is concerning you.
And here's a still from that video. That guy sitting there was the same guy I ran into in the woods at Deer Park. Same guy. There's Sears, abandoned. Look, there's a guy sleeping right there, alright? Oh, right here. Not doing anything. They're not calling the police, they're not doing anything.
Train to Cold Spring Harbor is expected to arrive on track 1 in approximately 6 minutes.
And then yesterday, something happened here in Hicksville that I want to show you before we get to the... It may have been something with the fight with the homeless. I don't know. There were a lot of police and ambulance around right by the train station. Look at the mess. And it's starting to look like Hempstead. And this is an area that, you know, Cuomo's throwing $10 million to make it look good. He threw $10 million at Westbury, and it's still a crap hole. And now... The Hicksville is getting really bad. Right in front, they're all over in front of the flower shop that closed, the florist that closed. They're all over. There were police everywhere, ambulance, and it smells horrible now over there. It's just horrible. They're turning it into just a hellhole. They're turning it into a hellhole when we should be investing in this area, because this is going to be the future area of Long Island. This is going to be where people need to live, but yet they're turning it into, just ignoring it. It's just horrible. This makes no sense. So let's take a look at what the future of Long Island is going to bring and why areas of Hicksville need to be fixed up instead of neglected. All right, we are looking at hurricane storm surge zones here, and what I really wanted to really get the point through in this video, and this has to do with the environment, so that's why I have to kind of tie in some of these. This is not something that I'm going to do all the time, but I figured I need to do it again because the way things are going with where the investment is going and where the infrastructure improvements are going and where the preferential treatment is going makes absolutely no sense. All right, so this is a map of hurricane storm surge zones on Long Island, and the red will be areas that will be underwater in a Category 1. These are areas that will get flooded in a Category 1. The orange is areas that will get flooded in a Category 2. And yellow is where areas that will get flooded in a Category 3. And the green will be areas that get flooded in a Category 4. Now, we've had up to Category 3 hurricanes affect Long Island because the hurricane of 38, that was a Category 3. All right, so that could definitely happen again. We haven't seen Category 4 yet, but, you know, due to climate change, you just never know. So what we're looking at here is a map of Long Island here. And this map here is going to show you the areas that will wind up getting flooded in a hurricane. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here to show you. First of all, you can see, look at all the air impacts on the South Shore. The South Shore will be the most heavily impacted part of Long Island in a hurricane. All right? And that's why it's extremely foolish to focus all the investment and all the business onto the South Shore while areas in the middle of the island are being left for dead when the middle of the island is really the safest place to live when it comes to, natural disasters. The middle of the island is the safest place to live because the South Shore is going to get inundated with water, and the North Shore has all those trees that are going to come down and knock down all the power. So the middle of the island is the safest place to be in a hurricane or tropical storm. All right, and that is the bottom line. So that is another really important reason why you really don't want to live on the South Shore. All right. Anyway, let's get a closer look at this map and take a look at the areas that'll be affected. I'm sorry if my computer is a little laggy here. It just wants to feel like being laggy now. And we're going to zoom in on our favorite area here on the South Shore. All right, so let's go ahead and look. And I say that sarcastically, by the way. Anyway, here you go. Here we are looking at the Babylon branch areas here. And this road you see here is Sunrise Highway. And you can see that in a Category 1 hurricane, the water goes pretty much up to Merrick Road. All right, Merrick Road, it will go up to Merrick Road and flood that whole area. All right, anything up to Merrick Road will probably get to see some flooding. In a Category 2, which is the orange, the water is going to reach up to Sunrise Highway. And in a Category 2 hurricane, that is extreme. We can have a Category 2 here. We've had them before. And that will wind up reaching up towards Sunrise Highway and the Long Island Railroad. All right? And actually, see, it says Long Island Railroad right here. So this will wind up impacting the Babylon branch and all the towns. All the towns. The downtowns of Merrick, the downtowns of Belmore, the downtowns of Seaford will be underwater in a Category 2 hurricane. Massapequa Park's a little further north, so it might be spared a little bit, but it's awfully close. It's awfully close, and they would be impacted by a hurricane, by the flooding, definitely. And we go west, and we go into the downtowns of Rockville Center, which is right over here, I believe, right over here. Yeah, right over here. And they could see some flooding in a Category 2 also, maybe even a Category 1. All right? And Long Beach, we know, will be inundated in a Category 1. We saw that with Sandy. Sandy was barely a Category 1. All right? Island Park, Oceanside, this whole area will be inundated. All right? We saw that again with Sandy. All right? So you could see putting all the investment in these towns is stupid because they would wind up getting impacted by a Category 2. But we've had Category 3s. And a Category 3, the water goes north of Sunrise Highway, and that could wind up impacting downtown Belmore. That could be impacting downtown Massapequa Park with floodwaters. Definitely Rockville Center. Lynbrook would be affected by that. So, again, we've had Category 3s in the past, and due to climate change, they could become more common. But yet, people and all businesses would rather, they're saying, oh, demographics is more important. We've got to have that certain demographic because apparently a lot of other businesses think that, other demographics don't believe in shopping and buying stuff and eating out. Apparently, they don't believe in that, which is absolutely stupid. It's stupid, and it's racist, all right? It really is. And now let's look at Babylon. Now, Babylon Village actually is very prone to flooding. It's right over here, I believe, right over here, Babylon Village. So Babylon Village would get flooded a little bit in a Category 1 even, and a Category 2 would definitely be flooded. All right? And we move our way east here and into Suffolk County, and you will see, first of all, the Barrier Islands are pretty much inundated in a Category 1, but there are portions that might not be inundated in a Category 1, but they would probably be inundated in a Category 2. Islip is underwater in a Category 3. Bayshore is underwater in a Category 2. Sayville could be underwater, Sayville is like right over here. It could wind up seeing some flooding in a Category 2 or Category 3. And then we go into Patchogue, where there's been a huge amount of investment in Patchogue. And Patchogue has grown while Port Jefferson has died. And Patchogue, most of the downtown would wind up, downtown is, I believe, right over here, would wind up getting flooded in a Category 2 or a Category 3 hurricane. All right, again, we haven't even talked about sea level rise. Wait till I get to those maps. So this would be significant a problem for these areas right on the South Shore. And I could go further east. You get the idea pretty much why it's extremely foolish. I'm not saying don't invest in these areas, but why do these areas have to be the only areas that are getting the trendy places, that are getting the nice little shops and all that stuff? Why are those the only places? It makes no sense. Why are those the only the places that are taken care of by the electric company and by everything? It makes no sense when those are the areas that are most vulnerable to the next hurricane. And we haven't even gotten into sea level rise yet. We haven't even gotten there yet. All right? I just want to look at the North Shore very briefly. You see the North Shore doesn't have quite as much flooding. The North Shore would be more impacted by wind damage, but there's still certain low-lying areas on the North Shore. The reason why is because the North Shore, basically the towns on the North Shore, are generally at a significant elevation above sea level, so they wouldn't flood most of them. But there are a few that are prone to it, such as Bayville. As far as Port Jefferson goes, it's possible Port Jefferson could flood too, because the village of Port Jefferson is in a low-lying area. But for the most part, you see what's going on here. And then we look at the impact on New York City here. And New York City, we're going to look at briefly, again, because a lot of the areas that are popular, such as downtown, a very popular place, they will be underwater in a Category 1. Well, we learned that with Sandy, didn't we? We learned that with Sandy. I don't even know we know what happened with Sandy in New York City. I don't have to even tell you what happened with that, all right? But there would be severe impacts in the city, too, due to that. Brooklyn, Coney Island, southern Brooklyn, definitely the Rockaways. These would be impacted terribly by hurricanes. Staten Island as well. So I'm now going to try to get some sea level rise maps to show you what's going to happen, because we have rising sea levels due to climate change. And this is really going to, talk about the long-term viability of the South Shore. The middle of the island is the best place to live on Long Island in a changing climate. Okay, so we are looking at a surging seas. I'll put the links below in this video. You can look at them. And we're gonna actually lower this down to just about a foot of sea level rise, which would be within the next possibly 10 or so years due to climate change as the melting, but that could happen a lot faster. So when we go with these conservative numbers, we don't see a whole lot of effects right away, just on some really low-lying areas along the South Shore. But let's talk about 20 years. That could wind up being 3 feet of sea level rise. All right, now you're starting to see areas starting to get flooded. Parts of Long Beach are getting flooded. Parts of Jones Beach are getting flooded. The areas that are turning blue are the areas that are getting flooded. You're seeing parts of Freeport getting flooded. Parts of Oceanside getting flooded. Island Park getting flooded significantly. Island Park is a very low-lying area. And it's a shame because Island Park actually is not snobby. Neither is Long Beach, but those will be the first areas to actually be impacted because they're very low-lying. But so far, even with a 3 feet of sea level rise, we're seeing just minimal effects in areas on the South Shore. Minimal effects with just 3 feet of sea level rise, all right? But this doesn't take into account the increased tropical and hurricane activity that's going to occur in these areas. As we head further east, let's go into Babylon. I want to see what this is doing to Babylon here. And you can see, yeah, it looks like it's starting to put Babylon Village is right over here. It's starting to put parts of Babylon Village underwater already, even only at 3 feet of sea level rise. But let's go to 5 feet. That could be 5 feet of sea level rise by the year 2050, all right? So, and I think it's going to happen a lot quicker than a lot of people are saying, because it's already happening a lot quicker. Now we're at 5 feet. Half of Long Beach is underwater, all right? The water's starting to get into Rockville Center now, all right? It's definitely in a good part of Freeport. And it's definitely in Merrick. It's starting to reach Merrick Road in Merrick and Belmore. All the way from Merrick, Belmore, Wantaw, Seaford, Massapequa, this whole area is going to get inundated all the way out, all right? As we go into Babylon, Babylon Village, looks like Babylon Village, a good part of it, especially by Argyle Lake, will wind up going underwater with a 5-foot sea level rise, all right? I'm only covering the western part of Long Island. I guess I can go out to Patchogue. Let's see what 5 feet does to Patchogue. Let's see what it does. Yeah, it's starting to put Patchogue underwater too a little bit. You can see. All right. But these are conservative numbers. They're on the high end of projections. We could see, let's go all the way up to 10 feet. Let's go all the way up to 10 feet of sea level rise. All right. And let's see how Long Island could look by the year 2100. All right. Now Jones Beach is gone. It's underwater. Long Beach is underwater. All right. The whole South Shore is underwater, pretty much. All the Rockville Center's underwater. Freeport's underwater. Anything south of Sunrise Highway in Belmore and Merrick are going to be underwater. All the way into Massapequa, the water could reach all the way over there. All right. And we head east into Suffolk County. You see the water is now, Babylon Village is underwater. All right. Lindenhurst underwater. So these areas are going to be impacted by climate change. And yet millions upon millions of dollars is being invested by businesses, by people moving out of the city into these neighborhoods, even though they're at risk for climate change. They don't see how this is going to change things. Let's look at Patchogue. Patchogue is going to be underwater. Yeah, this is Patchogue right here. It's going to be underwater. All right? But they don't think that way. They don't think that way. We zoom out on the map and you'll see, hey, the water hasn't reached the middle of the island. We have plenty of space in the middle of the island. Now my computer has decided, all right, there it is. I'm sorry it's being slow. It's probably just a lot of data for it to handle. But you can see how much has gone underwater here. And this doesn't take into account the increased amount of hurricanes. And I think we are underestimating. All right, so I still think this is conservative here. All right. And if we look at New York City, it's also going to be putting parts of downtown underwater, parts of Jersey, a lot of Jersey City underwater. And there are two things that happen with climate change. It's not just that. I'll go back to a more conservative number, all right, like 5 feet, all right. All right, so we don't all get all panicked. This could happen in our lifetime. I think this will happen in my lifetime. I think that we're going to see this, all right, and maybe even the worst case scenario, because there are two factors at play when there's climate change. All right, you have the rising sea levels as the fresh water melts over. Well, actually, we'll go to a map and I'll show you. I'll show you and explain to you how this all affects us. So we're going to look at our little slice of the world right now and explain to you how climate change affects us. All right, so we know temperatures are warming in the Arctic at a very high rate and there's a lot of melt. Now, if ice is on the sea that melts, it's not going to change the sea level. But if ice is over a landmass such as Greenland or Antarctica and that melts, that will rise the sea. That will cause the sea level to rise. But we also have another factor at play here. It's not just more water pouring off of Greenland into the oceans and rising the sea levels. It's also the fact that the oceans are warmer, and when something is warmer, it expands. And so that's another factor that's going to cause the sea level to rise. So we have all these factors going on, and this is a serious problem, and we have to adapt because it does not seem like we're going to be able to stop it in time. And the way the investment is going across the area, on Long Island in particular, as we zoom into Long Island, it's foolish because we're putting all the investment on the South Shore into these risk areas here. This is where all the people are moving, and all the businesses are moving, and this is the area that gets taken care of, while the middle of the island is neglected. And there's plenty of, available commercial space in the middle of the island that's vacant that could be used to house people and will have to be used to house people because the South Shore will wind up getting wiped out by, if not climate change, by the next big hurricane. If the hurricane of 38 would have come today, the South Shore would be wiped out, completely wiped out. And that was and that storm hit before we were even talking about it, before climate change was even around. All right? And I'll just do this so we can illustrate a little more what's going on. I'll take these layers off and put this on. All right, so they're putting all the investment over here. All right, they're putting all the investment over here onto the South Shore. All right, this is where it's going. Rockville Center, Belmore, Merrick, Massapequa Park, Babylon, whatever. All right, while places like Hicksville are being neglected, and even Mineola to some extent is being neglected, which makes absolutely no sense because these are the areas where people need to live to be safe from natural disasters. So as we look at yet another map of Long Island, I just want to try to make my point clear that it's going to be these areas here. They're going to wind up getting flooded out all along the South Shore. They're going to get flooded out, and, you know, all along this Babylon. It's all going to be underwater in the future. This whole area here, all right? This whole area is going to be underwater. This whole area is going to be underwater, all right? So why are they putting all the stuff here? Why are they putting all the business here in Babylon? Why are they putting it in Wantaw? Why are they putting it in Massapequa Park? Why are they putting it in Rockville Center? While areas in the middle of the island wind up just getting neglected. Places like Mineola, Hicksville, Westbury, Deer Park. You know, all these areas are getting neglected, and yet, and Brentwood and Central Islip. All right. Why are all these areas getting neglected? It's not right. It's not right when it makes no sense, because in the future, this is going to be the part of Long Island where people are going to live. They're going to live in the middle, all right? Because that's going to be the safest place to be in an era of rising sea levels and increasing tropical storm activity, all right? But yet, the investors and the bankers, and this is what I mean, they may have a lot of money, but they sure as hell aren't very smart. And they don't see that they have a lot of risk here. And when Sandy hit, you heard them whining about all the money they lost. Well, because you're in an area that's prone to these kind of storms. And even if climate change wasn't around, those areas are still prone to those storms. We put too much development on our coastline. This needs to change. And look, I understand, places like Westbury, places like Wyandanch, places like Brentwood and Central Islip are shady areas. People don't want to go there. There's gang activity. There's a lot of problems, but these are areas we need to turn around. We have an obligation to everybody to make these areas safe. And as far as Hicksville goes, I wouldn't call Hicksville a ghetto yet, but it's on its way down. Ever since the Sears closed, as you saw in this in the beginning of this video, Hicksville is in serious problems, and there's a lot of empty space that could be utilized for businesses and people. And that's the other thing that gets me. There's no need to destroy woods when we have so many vacant buildings, so many vacant buildings across the middle of the island. There's no reason to knock down any more trees to build anything when we have so much commercial and residential space already available in these areas for people to move to. People just don't want to live there because it's not the trendy place, it's not the desirable place, and because the demographics aren't 90+% lily white like in those South Shore areas. Because they want to be, all the investment goes into this freaking block right here, all right? This block right here, Merrick, Belmore, Wantaw, Seaford, Massapequa Park, because it's 90% white. And because they're, Wall Street, all right? That's why it goes in there, all right? It has nothing to do with climate change or anything like it. It makes absolutely no sense. And, of course, yeah, the investment goes into Rockville Center and Lynbrook, as well as Babylon, all right? So, as well as Sayville. This is where it all goes, all right? Meanwhile, places like Port Jefferson are just dying, all right? And it's not fair. It's not fair to these places. It's not fair to the people that live there, and it's not fair to the future of Long Island. We keep doing this, and it's stupid. I'm trying to save you some money here. All right? You're throwing your money away because these areas will eventually wind up. These areas here, they're going to be destroyed. Well, maybe that's a little. Hang on. These areas right here, these areas are going to be wiped out. It's only a matter of time. And yet, all they see is the 90+% white and the bankings. Oh, well, we can't, doctors and who happen to have different skin color. Apparently, they don't believe in people. They don't think that people with different skin colors like to shop too. They don't think that people with different skin colors like to eat out. Apparently, they don't think that. Only white people do that. I mean, what the hell, man? I shouldn't address this racism anymore. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about this discrimination. I really don't want to talk about this discrimination, but it ties in to the climate, and that's why I had to make this video about this. Don't expect this to be a regular thing, all right? Really don't expect it to be a regular thing, because it's not going to be a regular thing at all right? But it does tie into climate change, and I'm frustrated by the short-sightedness by so many people in levels of various government and businesses that just want to throw their money under the South Shore and ignore the middle of the island. With all the vacant stores, and you know, I can't believe the way Mineola is getting treated. Mineola is a great place, all right? I love this place, all right? I love Mineola, all right? And I love the people here. I love the you know, people are friendly to me. I like the location. I can get to the Pine Barrens. And it should be the heart of Nassau. We shouldn't have so many vacant buildings. This is the county seat. We should have, like, you know, this should be a very popular place. The same thing for Hicksville. It's right by the expressways and stuff. But no, it gets ignored because it's not 90+% white. And I blame, you know who I blame for this? Governor Andrew Cuomo. He is a racist. He is a bigot. He just lies about it. But he's working there with people like Donald Trump. He's working with people who are racists, who are out to, you know, give the preferential treatment to only their kind. Cuomo is a white snob. People need to see that. And you know something else, and I'll just leave it at this. Even Phil Murphy, actually, once again, New Jersey gets it right. Even Phil Murphy said that he will not endorse Andrew Cuomo for governor. That, my friends, speaks volumes. It really does. Even he knows Cuomo is a snob, he is incompetent, and he is a racist. Right? Look at how he's divided this state. Look at the preferential treatment. This never happened until Cuomo was elected. And one more thing. You know, all these neighborhoods that have problems, like Westbury, all right? All these really seriously troubled areas. Hempstead, Roosevelt, Wyandanch, and Brentwood and Central Islip, all right? All these areas deserve to be safe, and these all should be, especially Hempstead. Hempstead's set up to be, Hempstead could wind up being a very prosperous area. It could get a lot of people. The way it's laid out and everything, it's got an urban like grid layout. But we got to do something about these gangs and these problems. The laws need to be enforced. The illegals need to go. And as far as the citizens who commit crimes, we need to keep them in jail, and we need to build more jails. Here's an idea. Once people move out of these South Shore areas, when they get flooded, you could build elevated jails to keep all these people. All right, we need way more jails on Long Island. We haven't built new jails in I don't know how many years. We need. I think Nassau needs at least one, if not two, more new jails, and Suffolk needs another jail as well built. All right, these are people that just can't be in society. They just can't, and they need to stay behind bars or away from the public, so people can feel safe. So that will conclude this special video about the future of Long Island, and unfortunately it's impossible not to address the issues that are troubling many neighborhoods in the middle of the island. Why is the middle of the island being treated the way it is when it should be being treated better, if anything? Because this is going to, in the future, this is going to be the safest place for people to live on Long Island, the safest place from natural disasters. And as far as recreation goes, our parks, again, the parks in the South Shore get treated better. They're going to be underwater. We should be treating the Pine Barrens better, and our parks in the middle of the island. Those are the areas that should be being treated better. And I'm glad to see we have double track almost complete. I'm glad to see mainline third track is being, is going to start very soon. These are necessary projects, but it goes beyond that. We need to fix the neighborhoods in the middle of the island, all right? And we need to look past the fact that we need to look past skin color here, because skin color should have nothing to do with it. All right, it should have nothing to do with it. All right, there are plenty of viable areas in the middle of the island that would be great for economic booms, and they should be having all the little shops and all the trendy places and all the investment. Instead of being neglected, because it makes no sense to pour your money into an area that is eventually, one way or another, going to be destroyed by a natural disaster. It makes no sense. And that's why it ties into the environment and the weather and the stuff that I will talk about on this channel. But don't expect me to bring these subjects up again anytime soon. But it ties into that, and after what I've been seeing recently, it had to be said. We had to talk about it, because the news certainly is not going to talk about it. They're beholden to the elites on Wall Street, and Cuomo is a Wall Street governor, and he is connected to Wall Street, all right? And there's way too much Wall Street involvement, and Wall Street will be underwater too. But well, they may have a lot of money on Wall Street, and they may have a lot of power and use a lot of intimidation. But when it comes to brains, that's where they're seriously lacking. And that concludes this video.